More than a week ago, my friends and I went to a store to look for a birthday present. Inasmuch as it was almost closing time, we found ourselves not in a queue. As usual, as we entered the premises, we were taken a body temperature and disinfected our hands. In addition to that, we were handed each a mask to wear. Now that's odd, I told myself, although not entirely surprised considering our current situation. Measures are being adopted in place basically to fight the spread of coronavirus. You will find shopping centers with wet wipes readily available before using their carts or baskets, gloves given at petrol service stations, the use of hand sanitizers for most of the stores, offices, hotels, and even churches. In fact, disinfectant is applied after communal services. Now, this is aside from the new norm of practicing social distancing, looking at our personal hygiene more frequently, crowd limitations, and the use of PPEs. From the time we all heard about it up to this day, I suppose everybody's already aware that this is going to stay here for a while. The reality is, things are different as compared 7 or 8 months ago, and that includes Sunday services. This is going to be the new normal for whatever angle you are to view, and somehow we have to adjust to it. We have to learn from it, adapt on it, and at some stage we have to embrace and live with these changes. Even before, the advent of information technology had brought so much changes that it went so quick that sometimes we are unable to catch up. Some would even say what is happening now moves us in our use of digital technology few years ahead than we are right now. Most of us have been caught unprepared, and I would imagine our churches too. The way we worship will definitely change. I hope not for long, but even when we get back for communal worship, I envisage it will be a bit different the way we conduct our services. In the meantime, we all have to adjust in terms of the way we live, work, play, study, socialize, or even go on holidays, and even in our church gatherings. These adjustments may be temporary or could even be permanent. However, change, as they say, is inevitable. But I trust the lady will lead the charge. Please do not quote me when I say the ladies should lead the charge. We are all part of this church, and everybody have their own role to play. After all, together we are the church. If you browse the internet and check out the duties of a lady, it is a very long list. I hope that does not disappoint any future leaders, as we all know how hard it is to become one. However, to sum it up, the leaders are expected to work with the clergy to fulfill the mission and vision of the congregation. It may sound easy, but it is not. And to think of it, that they are even being constantly challenged likewise. If you observe further, more often than not, they are the same people typically doing 9 out of 10 other jobs inside the church. It is a good thing we have not heard them complain. There's nothing wrong with it, except that we are trying to give them tremendous pressure and still expect them to do other things. That is why when I look at the topic sent to me, I nearly froze, I nearly cried. Following the hierarchy of the church organization, I was just thinking, how can I, be an inspiration to them when I'm just a member of the church? Instead of me scrutinizing what they are supposed to do, looking for faults and start blaming them, even for little things, allow me to say thank you instead. I thought it is more appropriate. I thought it will enable them to recuperate from exhaustion and to re-energize them to do what is expected of them to the best of their abilities and to lead us into making more disciples of Jesus Christ. We have to appreciate that they are doing an amazing job. It is a hard work. We have to pray for them, and we have to extend the support they needed. And this can be helping the laity or the church as a whole equip into the new normal and moving forward into the future. There will be challenges, particularly staying connected with each other. How are we able to advocate and be able to engage those who would need it? Fortunately, location is no longer a barrier. Our current technology allows us to reach as far as the network can reach. Along the way, there will be some hiccups. Further learning, experimenting, but I trust the laity will lead the charge, and with the help of its members, I believe through God's grace we will eventually get there. You've already started it. I can already see you through social media. You may ask, what else do we need? Well, will that be enough? Perhaps in the meantime, or maybe we can explore more. Although, more often than not, it becomes an extra challenge, especially when it is associated with expenses. Well, we'll try to find ways, say anything that will help the laity advocate and reach out for its members and help them realize the church's mission and vision will be good, if not best. Please allow me to share the starfishy story. You may have heard already about it, but the story goes this way. Once upon a time, there was an old man who used to go to the ocean to do his fighting. He had a habit of walking onto the beach every morning before he began his work. Early one morning, he was walking along the shore after a big storm had passed and found that the vast beach littered with starfish as far as the eye could see, stretching in both directions. Off in the distance, the old man noticed a small boy approaching. As the boy walked, he paused every so often, and as he grew closer, the man could see that he was occasionally bending down to pick up an object and throw it into the sea. The boy came closer still, and the man called out, "Good morning. May I ask what it is that you are doing?" The boy paused, looked up and replied, "Throwing the starfish into the ocean. The tide has washed them up onto the beach and they can't return to the sea by themselves." The youth replied, "When the sun gets high, they will die, unless I throw them back into the water." The old man replied, "But there must be tens of thousands of starfish on the beach. I'm afraid you won't really be able to make much of a difference." The boy bent down, picked up yet another starfish, and threw it as far as he could into the ocean. Then he turned, smiled, and said, "It made a difference to that one." Today, as before, the empowered laity are faced with so many challenges. There are hundreds, thousands, or even millions yet to be witnessed. Be inspired, however, for the mandate is still there. The calling stands. God's invitation towards our salvation remains the same. Be of good courage. Your works of faith will make wonders for the praises of God's grace. And as for and for as little as one, God will take the life, knowing that it makes a difference to that one. May the good Lord bless us always,